Welcome to Botanical Trails Through the Juniper Forest. I'm your host, Brian Heater. Each week, I'll have a different guest join me to explore a pair of interesting gins. We'll chat a little bit about the gin and the distilleries, throw in a bit of trivia, hopefully laugh a bit, and then we'll go off the beaten path. Although I say that this is a podcast about gin, really this is just an excuse for me to spend time with my friends. But that'll just be our secret. Okay, let's start exploring. My guest today for episode 10 is Scott Jester. Scott, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you could be here. So today we are going to do a couple of international gins, but with a little spin. They're both kind of colored gins. So in segment 1, we're going to try a pink gin from Ireland. And in segment 2, we're going to go with a blue gin from France. So we are also doing something a little bit of a twist in that we're having a non-gin and tonic cocktail to start things off. So this is the first time I have ever made a bramble, which is a cocktail I looked up to make with pink gins, and our listeners, obviously the three of them can't see this, but as you can, Scott, there's a little umbrella to go along with things because I know you love fancy cocktails.
Yes, so, as my wife would say, girl drinks.
Yes, so yes. In fact, we may title this episode Girl Drink Drunk. So, go ahead and give this a try. Now, I've never made it, and if it ends up being terrible, I can just whip us up a gin and tonic.
It smells very refreshing.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot more flavor in that than I expected.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I will talk about the gin and the distillery in a second, but this is called a bramble. And what it is pink gin, fresh lemon juice, simple syrup, black raspberry liqueur, and then I garnished it with raspberries. You could garnish it with raspberries or blackberries. And I will try to remember to put the little recipe in the posting on Instagram for it. But so I was looking up kind of pink gin cocktails, and this was one that popped up, and I thought it sounded kind of interesting. So.
Yeah, and of course it has an umbrella, of course, that you were colluding with my wife for.
Yes, your wife was Alyssa in the last episode, and after, when we were just kind of chatting, she was asking me what I was planning to do with gins for you, and then we started to conspire, and then we kind of came up with the fancy cocktails and the girl drink drunk joke, and so you actually delivered the umbrellas not knowing what they were.
Yes.
This evening, which is great.
Yeah, I figured you guys had something up your sleeve.
Yes.
And I mean, where it all kind of came from is like when Alyssa and I would go on vacation or something, especially pre-kids, we'd get down there when I'm on vacation somewhere warm Caribbean. I want like a vacation in a glass is what I would say. I could have a beer anytime or whatever, and I want, and so we would be at a bar or restaurant, and, Alyssa would order like a double IPA, and I would order like a Miami Vice with like a pineapple wedge, and then the server, the bartender, would come back and every time try to give me the IPA and her and then she's like, nope, and whipping it around. So,
well, I've known you now like 19 years. I think it'll be 19 years this fall, and I've never seen you pass up getting a fancy cocktail.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So, well, the other twist is this is a gin I've actually never tried before. So I decided I would do a pink gin, and I was looking for a couple of options, and I called one of my favorite stores here in Grand Rapids, Rishi's, and they recommended this gin. So it's called Hey Penny, and we got their Hey Penny Rhubarb edition. Do you know what a rhubarb is?
I do.
What is it? I've never had one.
I don't know how to describe this, but it almost kind of looks like celery stalk. Oh. It can grow, I think,
so it's like a vegetable?
It's like a vegetable, but it has a very strong, unique flavor. I don't know how to really describe it without trying it.
Yeah,
fresh.
We'll try the gin straight in the second edition. And now that I think about it, I may have to edit this part out. I don't want Miles to hear about me not knowing what a rhubarb is. It'll just that'll cause problems. So, so this is a gin from Ireland. This gin came out in 2019. Now it's kind of interesting when I was doing my little bit of homework for it. On the bottle, it lists 21 different botanicals that are in it. But when you look at their website, they only list 14. So I'm not sure what the exact number is. So we'll say it's between 14 and 21. This comes from a distillery called Pierce Lyons Distillery. They're based in Ireland, Dublin. And the gin, their line of gins, this Halfpenny, is named after the iconic Halfpenny Bridge in Dublin. Have you ever been to Dublin?
No.
Have you been to Ireland?
I have not been.
Yeah, me neither. So, and so I looked it up, and the Halfpenny Bridge was built in 1816, and for 10 days people could just cross it for free. So it was toll free for 10 days, and then thereafter, people had to pay a halfpenny, which is a half penny. Okay. It's a British coin, and I guess they used this half penny up until like 1971. I read so, and the bridge is still there. So this is they have a line of a couple different gins. This is their pink small batch pot distilled gin. Of all the different botanicals, 4 of them, which are geranium, dandelion, lavender, and blackberry, would have grown in the nearby Phoenix Park during Victorian times. So those are kind of like close to where the distillery would be based. And had I known that dandelions could be turned into part of gin, I wouldn't get them out of my yard all the time.
Yeah. Or wine, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's won at least 4 different awards. They describe the gin as having a silky, crisp profile and a fresh rhubarb finish. If you were to make a gin and tonic of this, they suggest garnishing it with a wedge of orange.
Okay, so I could see that.
Now, the Pierce Lyons Distillery, it's kind of an interesting story. As I mentioned, they're based in Dublin, Ireland. That distillery opened in 2017. It was started by Pierce Lyons. According to what they have listed, he was the first Irishman to achieve a master's in both brewing and distilling. He moved to the U.S. in 1976. He established the Alcohol School in Lexington, Kentucky in 1980 and ran it for 25 years. I did not apply to that school. I didn't know that was an option when I was going to college.
Doing the Lord's work.
Then in 1999, he and his son revived the Lexington Brewing Company. And in 2012, they expand to become Lexington Brewing and Distilling. And so they start doing spirits. And then in 2012, having been from Ireland, he kind of had a dream of opening a distillery back there. So he finds an old dilapidated church, St. James Church in the Liberties District of Dublin 8. The following year, they start the restoration project, and then 4 years later, it opens. And then since then, they also opened another place in Pikesville, Kentucky, Dueling Barrels Brewery and Distillery. So they're all kind of connected. And from what I saw, they have 3 different versions of their gin, and they also do some whiskeys. So,
wow.
So that is this gin. And
there's a lot of flavor in this.
Yeah, now part of it might be the blackberry liqueur.
Right.
And
that's what
there's a little bit of lemon juice and some simple syrup, but I'll be interested to see what this gin is like, because I don't think I've ever had a rhubarb-based gin before.
I think I have had a rhubarb-based, or, a rhubarb-flavored drink before. I definitely don't remember it having like this much flavor to it.
You seem to have enjoyed that. It
didn't last long. Let's say that. I'll be interested to try it straight, just to see what the flavor of gin, because I'm not really getting much of a gin typical. There's definitely no juniper forward taste to it.
This tastes more like a good cocktail and like a summer night type situation. Definitely. It's a little sweet, pretty tasty.
Oh yeah.
The pink gins that I've had before have been more kind of like rose infused.
Yeah.
And I'm actually there's two that I really like that I'm gonna do an episode on. I think in May, hopefully, if everything works out. So, but I've never had this one. But pink gins, you see that a little bit more when Dave was on in episode 7, the distillery from Stockholm, where we tried their dry gin. They actually have a pink gin that's for sale here. I almost got that one, but I just wanted to try something from a different distillery. But I would like to try their pink gin because Rishi's also said that that's a really good, tasty gin as well. So
nice. Where's Rishi's at? I've heard it, but I've never been there.
It's if you're in Grand Rapids, it is between the East Beltline and East Paris on 28th Street on the north side of it. Yeah. So, and they do beer, wine, liquor, but they're super nice, and they got a couple people there who really enjoy gin, and they've introduced me to some really, really good gins. Nice. Alchemist, which I did in episode 4. A couple of others that I'll do in some future ones. One that I can't get my hand on anymore that came out of South Africa. It was just like delicious. They have a really good gin selection and some really knowledgeable people there, and they're just super nice all the time.
Yeah. Do you, now that you've tried so many different gins, have you considered like making an Excel spreadsheet and like listing everything so then you like know if you've tried it? Yeah, like my dad essentially.
With beer.
Yes, with beer. And kind of like rating it or giving it, I don't know. It just seems, unless there's an app for that, like there is for beer and stuff, but.
I haven't looked, like Untapped for beer. Like I haven't looked. I am sure that there probably is one. I haven't done that. There's definitely been a couple of gins like I've tried and they just didn't really do it for me. Although sometimes I have found like, if it's not great, I just experiment a little bit sometimes with some different tonics. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, I will find one that just sort of like unlocks it. But no, I haven't done that. When I was thinking about when I was originally coming up with this idea, I'm like, how much of this could I do? And then I started like looking into it. And I think I mentioned this on one of the previous podcasts. Like I started looking up like award winners from, like the Gin Is In is like a website I like, and I would go and check their stuff. And like you go look at like their best gin winners from like 2019 or 2020, and I was like, I recognize like 2 of these 10. But the issue would be like, can I get my hands on them here, in Michigan?
Licensing and stuff.
Yeah, but it's not a bad idea. I do keep a list of like what I've done in the podcast. Not that I'm going to do a ton of these, but eventually just to make sure I'm not repeating myself. But it'll be quite a while. I would have to do quite a few episodes to do that. So
yeah, when you asked me to do this, I kind of was thinking back because I hadn't always drank gin, but now I will say that it's definitely my favorite drink. Gin and tonic is by far my favorite drink, and I think that you're probably the one I get to blame for that. It was, I don't remember. I think it was you, but it was also with like you, Alyssa, and then like going over to my parents' house, and then Air Lair was over there pushing Tanqueray and tonics, and I don't know. I don't remember specifically what happened, but it's definitely my favorite. And
Alyssa and I would never hesitate to get a gin and tonic over there.
Yeah, so, exactly. And then I was like, this is delicious.
And then you guys introduced me to Malfi.
Yeah.
You guys had it for Christmas one year. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't realize they had like multiple versions of it. Then when I went to get it myself, I ended up getting their lemon version, which I discovered was just delicious.
Yeah,
it's one of my
very
favorites.
Refreshing. Yeah.
So, and they've got a couple of others that I'd like to try. So, and then I know you like the Empress.
I do. I love Empress.
So good.
That's one I have to like purposely not drink because I could catch myself drinking that every day. I don't know. It just is delicious. It's fairly light. It feels like you can drink it. Of course, I drink everything at the same speed, unfortunately. But yeah, I enjoy that one. That's my favorite.
And you guys, for maybe my birthday one year, you guys got me a gin from India. Yeah. It was like Hapusa or something like that. Yeah. And I cannot find that anywhere now. And that was really... that was a really good gin.
Yeah, I got that one from Siciliano's, which is another local place that, and they had recommended it. And there was like a little story on it, how one of the people that claim that created the gin and tonic, which there's some, of course you would think England, of course, but
but they were a colony of England, so that could certainly be. I could see that potentially being.
But that was a good gin.
That was really good.
That was. I always look for a unique one.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. So, all right, would you like to do round 1 of trivia?
Sure.
Okay, we decided you would go first, so I will ask you the question.
Okay.
I think you'll get this one. So. Okay, what is the base spirit used to make gin?
Would be like a neutral spirit, like vodka, essentially. Yeah.
You are correct.
Okay.
It is vodka. Yes. Good job.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
So.
I was, with 2 little kids at home, my brain is pretty much mush at this point, so I'm happy to get it right.
I had faith in you. So, well, why don't we take a break, and then I'll go make our second cocktail, and then we'll also get some samplers of our 2 gins for today.
Sounds great.
All right. And we are back. So, as we started doing in actually the last episode with Alyssa, we're going to sample the 2 gins, and we will start, though, with the Hey Penny gin, their rhubarb edition. So, give that a try. And
cheers.
Cheers.
It's definitely more complex than I was expecting. And that feels a lot stronger this way than I anticipated.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise. I mean, with the number of botanicals in it, doesn't surprise me that it's a little complex. Definitely, though, does remind me of the other pink gins, sort of. But that's really tasty.
It is.
I'm not gonna lie, I was really hesitant about rhubarb because I just hadn't tried it. Was sure I wouldn't like it. But
you for sure would not like real rhubarb, Brian.
You don't think?
No, I could guarantee you that.
Is it red?
I think part of the stalk is, and part of it's green. There's like red speckles on it. There was like a live batch that was behind a friend's house growing up, and we used to just like pluck it and eat it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and
makes sense.
Yeah, right.
That was good, though.
It was good.
Very much enjoyed that gin.
I don't know if I blind taste tested that, if I could have 100% said that was gin.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I mean, it was good. I liked it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I do like it, too. I would say if I was making a gin and tonic with that, I would probably use, like, the Fever Tree, like, their light premium. I think that would complement that well.
I could see that.
I also might try their aromatic. It's their kind of like a pink tonic. I might try that with it as well, just to check it out.
I've not had that tonic. Tonic, I think, is a huge, is the underrated player in gin and tonic.
Oh, for sure, yes.
I think if you have a good tonic and you have a crappy gin, it's actually still pretty good usually.
Yeah, but if you have a good gin and a crummy tonic, it's not good.
Yeah, nothing worse than a bad tonic out of the hose at some bar, and it's just like you're excited when they have a good gin that you're like, oh, you're expecting the traditional 3 that everyone has, and then they have something new or exciting, and then it's flat, nasty tonic.
I know. So that is the worst.
Yeah.
For the second segment today, we are trying a blue gin from France. It is called Magellan, and why don't you try that gin? Oh, I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, we do the shot first. Yeah.
Try that, and then I'll talk a little bit about the gin itself.
This tastes a lot more neutral to me.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not getting obviously neither one of these have a strong juniper forward, but yeah, I would say this just based on the shot tastes more like vodka to me.
Definitely, the Hey Penny was more complex.
Yeah.
For sure. And I also think it had a little smoother finish.
I agree. Yeah, this has got a tad bit of a burn to it.
Now, the cocktails I made us for the second segment are just regular gin and tonics. I went with the Mediterranean Fever Tree. And then on their website, they said to garnish it with a lemon wheel. I have had this as a gin and tonic before. I think you will enjoy it.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's very refreshing. It's crazy because it totally changed that gin.
The tonic?
Yeah, this tonic just really changed that gin for me.
Now, when I've had it before, because I hadn't looked up anything, when I've had it before, I've garnished it with a lime as opposed to a lemon.
Yeah,
I think I like with the lime a little more.
Yeah,
yeah, but this is good.
Yeah, I could
definitely
see.
Like it,
I could see why they did the lime with this, just because it feels like a very fresh, refreshing summer drink kind of. It feels very light.
Yeah, it is. It is a tasty gin. It makes a good gin and tonic, and yes, I would agree. Definitely one that you would enjoy more in the spring and summer. So, Magellan Gin. It came out in 2004. From the gin is in, it may have been the original blue gin. There's more blue gins on the market a little bit. Empress 1908, which you and I are both big fans of, is certainly one, but that's a relative newcomer. There's a couple of others that I have seen out there, but this has been out since 2004. It is composed of 11 distinct botanicals that are picked at their peak of ripeness and sun-dried. It's distilled 3 times and then redistilled a 4th. Where the botanicals are vapor infused, and then for a finishing touch, it's infused with natural iris root and flower, and that is what creates kind of the crisp taste and the blue color. So it's the iris that gives it the blue color. Yeah.
Okay.
The gin is in describes the finish as a little bit more peppery, with less floral nuance than you might expect.
I don't get the peppery to this. I don't know if it's because we just did the shot. And the other one.
But I would certainly agree there wasn't a lot of floral to it. So, the gin is inspired by the spices that Magellan discovered on his epic voyage, kind of around the world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is not much information in regards to the distillery. It's the Angeac, Angeac distillery in France. It is found in the Cognac region of the country. This company, or this distillery, is part of the Crillion Importers Limited Company. If I had to guess, they're probably a third-party distiller that puts this together. So there was not much info on the distillery, but it is a...
It looks cool, too. It's just a real faint light blue.
Yeah, it's a really light blue. The bottle is a bit of an homage to Magellan's Journey, and the bottle itself is clear, so the blueness you see when you get the gin is the gin itself, and it's a really kind of a light blue. I
do like it though.
Yeah, it's a good little gin, and so these are 2 of them, kind of colored gins you'll find out on the market.
Yeah, so I would say this would be a good one to maybe get someone's feet wet with gin if they were normally more of a...
I would totally agree.
A vodka drinker, or maybe even someone who just likes seltzers or something. This is a very light, refreshing.
Yes, because it's not super juniper forward, so they're going to be able to kind of enjoy it. It's going to be, a little lighter, kind of on the palate. Yeah, I would say, but it's good. I like it. I got this. I got this gin actually for Christmas from my family, and I definitely enjoyed it. So I was happy to bring it onto the show today.
Yeah, and it's interesting because usually people are very polarized when it comes to the juniper taste, and most people either love it or hate it. I love it, but I also like not London dry gins. I like the botanicals.
Oh yeah,
too. So I really like most gins. The ones that are super peppery to me, I don't know how else to describe it, but to me it just doesn't feel like a gin at all, and those aren't my favorite. I still drink them, of course, on if I'm trying something new and it happens to be that way. But yeah, this is good.
Yeah, it is a good one. Now, I know you went on cruises and stuff in the past with your folks when you were younger. Did you ever go on that cruise where they ended up in France for part of it? Did you go on that one?
No,
Okay.
I did not.
So you've never been to France?
No, I haven't been to Europe at all. Oh, that was a plan that wanted to do before we had kids, and then it just didn't happen. So,
well, you can still do it when the kids are a little older. You'll take them and they'll love it. So,
yep, yeah. We actually have a cruise planned for this coming New Year's. We're excited to go and put the kids on the ship's daycare. So,
where's that cruise gonna?
I don't honestly. It was just a couple of I think. A couple of Royal Caribbean's islands that they own. I think a couple stops. Alyssa's told me probably 30 times, but I don't remember.
I can edit this out. Don't worry.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks. We're excited. But of course, we're getting the drink packages. So
I think that's a must, right? I would assume if you're on a cruise, like that's the way you want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm usually at break-even point by about 11:30 a.m. So it's definitely beneficial. But But I'll be getting some girl drinks. Some.
Fancy umbrellas, a lot of fruit.
Oh yeah, some Labadoozies, which were one of their specialty drinks that are amazing.
I don't know if they have, but if they have a hummingbird, I don't know if they have those on those cruises.
They'll make pretty much anything you ask. Yeah.
Have them make it is delicious. I've had it at like a Sandals resort before. Oh, yeah. I cannot. Yep. Once I start, I cannot stop drinking.
Oh yeah, you guys used to make some of them.
I would make them here. Yeah,
yeah, those were good.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I have had a chance to go to France once. It was with Jim, who was on episode 8. His son was his club soccer team, like went over there and was kind of like practicing and scrimmaging, and so I tagged along for a bit of the trip and got to see a couple parts of the country, like kind of the nice coast in the south of France, and then we made our way to Paris. And Jim and I just had an apartment there. He had some friends who have family, and we rented this apartment. It was great, and I had heard mixed reviews about going to France in the past. Like some people had loved it, other people, just didn't have the best time, and I just had a really nice time. Like I found the people to not be like rude at all. They were super nice and helpful. Now, part of it may have been we totally avoided like the big tourist areas. Yeah. We kind of just really hung around our neighborhood a lot, but found the people to be super nice. We ended up getting to go to the Women's World Cup semifinal game in Lyon.
Nice.
The U.S. versus England.
That's cool.
We literally got the tickets like an hour before the game. It was amazing, and we had good seats, and it was a great game.
What an experience!
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then the final, we were in Paris for the final, so we just found this like bar. It's probably sort of like a soccer bar, but we went, and anyhow, it was a lot of fun, and Paris was amazing. So nice. So that was a good trip. But I know your parents have been there.
Yeah, I know
on that cruise.
Yeah, I know they went to like Normandy
yep.
and did that kind of stuff. I don't know exactly where they went. I know they went to like Ireland and
it sounded like they kind of did British Channel and British Isles.
Yep. I know they enjoyed that. Yeah, someday bucket list
for sure. No, that'll be awesome.
So, Uncle Brian and Aunt Jen watch the kids while Mom and Dad.
Yeah, you guys take off for a couple weeks and watch them and the dog, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go round 2 of trivia.
Okay.
And you can ask me.
I thought about playing a prank on you.
Oh, and you're going to like
make I was going to make up something like super difficult but then I just got too busy and forgot about it. So,
well, next time you're on, you can pull the old switcheroo.
All right. So, true or false, the classic bottle of Bull's Genever gin is made of clay. Or is it Genevieve?
Genevieve. Oh, it's kind of like the original. Yeah. Is like Genever.
Yes.
Yeah. What is it? Bulls?
Yeah, Bulls.
True or false?
It's made of clay. True or false?
I'll say true.
Yes, it is true.
Never seen it. That was just a guess.
I think Alyssa and I were just talking about this. Maybe it was her.
Never tried.
Not that specific
tried
one.
Any Genever before?
No,
I have not.
No,
Genevieve?
No,
but
I have not. But normally you see kind of tequila in some of the different like porcelain or clay type bottles. But we saw gin like that. I think somewhere. I think we were talking about it.
I have one. that I'm going to do in an upcoming episode. I don't think it's clay, but it's not a glass bottle.
It's like ceramic or something.
Yeah, ceramic or something like that. It's a pretty cool bottle actually, and it's a good gin. And hopefully that'll be next month. So.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the... Oh, we didn't talk about this. Would you like to go first or second for Off the Beaten Path?
I can go first, I guess.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So I had a hard time with this.
Because you had a lot of options?
Yeah, but also, like, I feel like anything that I kind of watch or do, I always just feel like it's not far enough off the beaten path. Like, I'm like, have you heard of this amazing show called, Game of Thrones, So I really kind of struggled with it, and I almost kind of gave up thinking about it, because I started thinking about it as soon as you first mentioned the podcast and the whole idea behind it. And I'm like, that's a really cool concept. And, I started trying to think about stuff, but then I'm like, God, I just feel like that's not obscure enough or whatever. And then I was just listening to like Apple Music, and it was actually in my library. Jessie Wilson came up. I don't know if you've ever heard her or not, but it's and I made a couple notes here just so I didn't get it wrong. But so it's spelled Jessy Wilson, because I think there's a country singer or something, but. She was I think she was in like Broadway and did backup for like Alicia Keys at one time. But I heard her first at a Black Keys concert. She opened for them, and it was for her album. I don't know if she's done any other albums. This particular album was called Phase. It's from 2019. I don't know. It just felt different. So Patrick, I really like the Black Keys, and especially their older stuff. And Patrick Carney, who's one of the members of the Black Keys, produced it and kind of did some like synthesized like drums and stuff to it. But it's just a really kind of different, cool vibe. I like a lot of different types of music, and this just felt kind of different.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of like rock, but also kind of like soul, maybe some like, R&B kind of like mixed in. So the album was Phase that I could think of, and I think she's done some other like joint projects with different people and on different albums and stuff. But like the songs, a couple of them was like, I think "Oh Baby," "Moving Through Your Mind," or "Clap Your Hands." Those are a couple that are pretty catchy right off the bat. But it's just something different. I don't know. I just kind of. It came across the radio. I'm like, I think this is kind of obscure enough.
And so you didn't know about her until you went to the concert, and that's how you got introduced to her?
Yeah, she came and I'm like, usually the opening shows, it's, even though it was a bigger concert, sometimes I was like, I don't know who this person is. And usually you kind of know who they are once they're that big of a, it was like the Van Andel, and it was packed. So, it was, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting. And it was just totally different than what I expected, but I've liked it. So
how many times have you seen the Black Keys in concert?
3 or 4 times, I think. Each time's been great. I've always enjoyed them. Some of their newer stuff isn't exactly, what I would prefer, but
Were we at one of their concerts? Not together, but we were at was it them and like Weezer?
Did we? I know Arctic Monkeys opened for them once.
Maybe that was it.
And I can't remember who opened them for the first time.
But I feel like I also saw them at Van Andel one time, and I thought you were there.
Probably. I think I've seen them every time they've come to the Van Andel.
But you're right. Maybe it was Arctic Monkey and...
it was them, and maybe... Did maybe Cage the Elephant open for him once too?
Oh, okay.
And then her, and I think her was the last one, but it was just so different than what I expected. And, I thought it was good. No,
that's always fun when you get sort of like introduced to a group or a band that you're not expecting, and you find out that like they're really good, and that's always it's nice. Yeah. Well, that's a good, nice work. So for my Off the Beaten Path, I usually try to like tie it into the show somehow. And although there is I'll explain in a second. It wasn't about that. This was like totally just geared towards you.
Okay.
And I know that I've talked to you about this before, but I love it so much that I just thought I would bring it up again. So, this is again a TV series, but it's called The Bureau, and I think I've talked to you about this.
I think you have mentioned it.
So it's a French series, so that's why it sort of ties in because one of the gins we tried was French, but that was just sort of happened that way because originally we weren't doing a French gin when I had my original concept for you being on, and but it is called The Bureau. It is 5 seasons. It's on like AMC Plus or Sundance. I think it's called Sundance Now. So it's not an easy like channel to find, but there's 5 seasons, and the best. So it follows the DGSE, which is sort of like the French CIA.
Okay.
And so it's 5 seasons of them, and it starts off with one of their agents has been undercover in like Syria for 6 years. Okay. And then they have to bring him back. But he's sort of become this like persona. And I don't want to give away too much, but it just right off the bat, it like sucks you in. And it would be, and this is why I think you would like it. Imagine if you took The Wire and then like Jack Ryan, and they had a baby, but it was overseas.
All right, yeah, 2 of my favorites.
Yes,
yeah.
So it's got the I would say the complexity and depth of The Wire. Okay, but it's got like that international spin, and kind of that for lack of a better kind of like spy world. With the Jack Ryan series that's on Prime, but I would say it would maybe lean a little bit more towards The Wire. But it's 5 seasons. It is super well done. It's all in French, so hopefully you can deal with subtitles. Yeah. But it is so worth watching. Like it is. I would probably say it's one of the top 5 series like I've ever watched. Okay. And not that I watch a ton, but I've watched some, I think, really good ones.
How many seasons?
It's 5 seasons.
Okay, 5 seasons.
And I think they're probably... I'd have to look. They're probably like 10 episodes a season or something like that. Okay. But it is really, like, worthwhile. Like, if you want to just get sort of, like, sucked into a really interesting, well-done storyline.
That sounds interesting. I love that stuff.
And they have, like... And then there's... multiple people that go out into the field, and you're kind of following like what they do. And
interesting.
Yeah, it is.
How old is it? Is it more recent, or?
I want to say, I didn't see when it came out. I bet it ran from like 2015 to like 2020. There's been talk about maybe a 6th season, but like nothing's come about or up from that. Okay. So I don't know if they're going to do a 6th season at all. I mean, you could certainly end it after 5 the way that they ended it, but it is.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Really, just a really good, well done series. So one of my favorites.
The Bureau, right?
It's called The Bureau.
The Bureau. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting done. I love at the end of night when the kids are in bed and kind of unwinding or whatever to watch some TV. So I like to have always like a series that I have to fill in between like the regular shows that come up during the week. So on those off nights, I can crank out an episode or 2. So I like to have these.
Now I know you're watching a show right now that I have enjoyed, The Last Kingdom on Netflix. Now, are you caught up or are you still going?
I'm partway through, I think, season 4 right now. I think I'm in like episode 8.
I know there are 4 or 5 seasons.
I think there's 4 seasons then that movie that came out for that, I think, to kind of wrap it up. So that's really good. I catch myself like I do in any of those just doing a ton of research on my phone while I'm watching it because I'm so curious to see where the Saxons exactly migrated to and why the Welsh are mad at them and all that kind of stuff. So
but that completely show is like super historically accurate from a little bit that I've read about it and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Our friend Mark is the one that was really kind of And I know you had mentioned it to me before, and then he was like, I think this is one of the greatest shows. I really like it. And then I'm like, okay, I should check this out. Two people, so I started watching it, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, my sister Amy loves it, and that is a really well done series as well. That's a good one. So awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for coming on, and we will see you again next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Feel free to subscribe to us on whichever platform you listen to your podcasts. Also, I want to take a quick minute to thank Darin VanderMolen for all of his help behind the scenes. Without him, this podcast probably wouldn't even exist, and his help is greatly appreciated. Hope you have a great week, and we will look forward to seeing you the next time we go down the botanical trails. This has been a Shits and Giggles production.